It is the aviation discussion where, of course, we have one of those very few Nigerians that, the nation has been blessed with, talking about a man who has gone far and wide on the issue of aviation in some part of Europe, America, and Asia, all on aviation programs and events. Well, he also doubles as a licensed estate surveyor and valuer. And the program is this month ITV. Here we look at aviation safety, all that you need to know about aviation safety, be it a bird strike. If you prevent that, you can be sure that your safety is also sure. And of course, when you look at the issue of engine failure, if you check that very well before takeoff, you know that you will be sure of also getting aviation safety. This and many more will be coming through the eyes of Nigeria's #1 aviation freak, Mr. Godwin Ike. Very good morning to you.
Good morning, Joe.
You're welcome.
And welcome from your long leave.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
This program missed you.
Yeah, I missed the program too.
My dear viewers, please welcome to the program.
Yes, and as we talk about aviation safety, the weekend, I know you're aware of the aborted flight, Medview, which actually embarked from Ilorin to Saudi Arabia. But when the pilot discovered a red alert on the plane, the pilot quickly come back to the Kwara State airport, all because he detected that there was a bird strike. Now, it's one of those safety we talk about.
That was so professionalism, at the best. In aviation, there is no room for risk. Everything you do is about safety. You want to keep your passengers comfortable, safe, and alive. You must not, under any circumstance, do anything that would endanger the lives of your passengers. And so, a very worthy pilot would see a sign,
red alert,
like I keep telling you,
and obey that red alert.
Airplanes are very faithful machines. They are built well. They have a lot of redundance that can help you get to the closest place. If one thing goes bad, you can switch to the other. And what's more, it tells you practically everything that is happening to it, because it's got thousands of sensors installed in them, monitoring every inch of the machine. And so that's why I describe them as very faithful. If human operators were to match the faithfulness of airplanes, they would never fall off the skies. That plane, if that pilot hadn't been faithful and honest, that plane would have ditched somewhere, haven't announced that it was not well, and expected the pilot to take it home quickly and fix what was wrong. If that man had been drunk or somehow lost his mind and decided to take the risk to move on, we would have been hearing a different story today. Oh, a plane ferrying people from Ilorin or wherever,
passengers
crashed, and so number of people lost their lives. That's the story we would have heard today. And then we would have said, oh, all these airplanes. When in actual sense, it was in the hands of the pilot to save the lives of the people. So that's my thumbs up for that pilot. He did a great job. And that's what all pilots must do. Today we are dealing with a lot of issues.
But even before we go into that, I know that some time ago you went to the airport, the Nandaziki airport here in Abuja, when the issue of this bird strike came up. You actually wanted to know what Nigeria has in terms of wildlife management. If that was in place in Ilorin Airport, that issue wouldn't have happened. So where are we?
It's all part of the recklessness in the system, the lawlessness and big-headedness in the system. We can't go on like this as a nation. We must get serious, and we must be seen to be serious. And on that day, Joe, I tried to see somebody who could talk to me in NCAA. Nobody would attend to me. The news was that the director I needed to see was, busy at the airport checking the airplanes that were
Maybe
to take off.
perhaps on supervision.
Yeah, doing some supervision. Okay, that's granted. That's granted. That's his job. But then he's not alone. There are assistant directors there. There are all the senior people there that will explain one thing or the other. But it was total information shut down, and nobody will say.
And I'm also aware that you even drop your contacts, so that if he comes back from his supervision, he can place a call and say,
up until this day, Joe, no contact. Nobody cares. Because of extreme impunity and lawlessness in the system. Well, if we don't
could it be that there is something that they are hiding?
I wouldn't know. It's up to them. The point is, I have a business here. Business of researching and doling out correct information on everything you need to know about aviation. It's a business of you journalists, investigative journalists, to go and find out what is going on and what's not going on.
Now, let's see what we have today.
Clip one, please. I'm doing my my beat. You journalists do your bit, and so we can build a great nation. Clip one. We're continuing with our aviation safety, and this is part 5. Joe, we did parts 1 to 4 while we were enjoying your holiday. One of the security, or rather safety issues we have in aviation is known as pilot fatigue. And that's what we have on the screen right now, my dear viewers. Pilot fatigue has been long identified as one of the causes of aviation accidents. The International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, defines pilot fatigue as a physiological state of reduced mental or physical performance capability resulting from sleep loss or extended wakefulness, circadian phase, I'm going to explain that later on to you, or excessive workload. Pilot fatigue increases the chances of pilot error, which endangers lives of both passengers and crew of an airplane. Clip 2, please, because we have about 12 clips to go today. I wish you could just be taking note of terminologies or words that we want us to clarify for. Yeah. And then clip 2, that's aviation pilot fatigue continues. Caused by jet lag, which is medically known as dysynchronosis or circadian dysrhythmia. Pilot fatigue is one of aviation safety challenges. Fatigue is particularly common among pilots because of unpredictable work hours, long duty periods, and insufficient sleep. In order to mitigate fatigue amongst pilots, ICAO, that's the International Civil Aviation Organization, recommends limiting of the amount of hours pilots are allowed to fly over varying periods of time. This method is, however, known to fall short of the solution, as enforcement of compliance is virtually impossible. Can we see clip 3 very quickly? All right, they are back to us. Maybe we'll need
now quickly, let's look at the cause of fatigue, which is lack of sleep and workload.
Yes.
And of course, in that clip we saw where ICAO
made a recommendation. Admits that it's difficult to enforce.
Now, what is the determination of workload?
Well, you see, commercial airliners always overwork pilots. Sometimes because they shed off, the bulldoze in employment because of the economic situation, and inability to pay huge salaries to too many pilots, and in the process, they engage the few available in more hours than allowed in a day for any pilot to work. And of course, these people are human beings. They are subject to, the natural, tiredness and weakness that come from, sustained hard work. And so, in a cockpit, you need absolute concentration. You need to be alert. Even when you are an autopilot, you need to watch your instruments to ensure that they are doing what they should do. And so if you find that something is going on wrong, you are expected to quickly take back control.
So now on that workload, and of course the recommendation by ICAO, how can we monitor, enforcement?
Well, that's the issue. The issue is that often you have conspiracy of those who should enforce. An airliner knows that is taking more hours than necessary of a pilot, and for instance, the security arm of the agencies in Nigeria is known as NCAA. If somebody somewhere gets compromised, he knows that a particular pilot or a particular crew is done more hours than necessary and should stop them and say, hey, you just landed, you've clocked so much hours, you must not fly again. And tell the airline in question that this airplane will only leave here with a new set of crew members. If somebody will be
a new set of crew?
Yes.
That means that you just cannot replace the pilot alone. You also need to replace the other members of the crew.
They can't insert pilot and the other attendants in the aircraft. And if they are leaving the aircraft, all of them must leave. And then another set of fresh pilots, fresh attendants and the rest of them, would come in and continue to perform optimally. But it doesn't happen that way. If somebody comes, raises an issue, and it's done hush, 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 more often than not, money may exchange hands. I am saying may because I'm not there, and I can't pin my finger on any particular, corrupt practices. But it keeps you wondering, why would anybody who knows that there is a security issue let an aircraft take to the air when the crew there are not
overworked?
That's right. Not the appropriate, in appropriate state of mind to work.
Yeah, could it be that the airline management perhaps may just believe on the what do you call it now, the expertise of a particular?
No. These people are trained in very rigorous fashion. To be a pilot is a rigorous. You go through rigorous training. Rigorous. It's not the cockpit instruments alone will take you months and months and months to master and have a knack of them to be able to know what you do in sequence. Remember, starting a jet engine is a procedure. It's not like your car where you slip in your car key and wind it and your car comes on. No, you have a set procedure that you must, even though you are usually given your what do they call it, manual, and the procedure chart. You've got all in front of you, but you're expected to also memorize them and know how this is, and the sequence of events. It's not an easy thing.
Okay, now let's see what clip 3 has.
Clip 3. Pilot while intoxicated. This particular one really hits me like a thunderbolt, and I'm going to ask a question on air today. After we've read through it, some flight crew members are known to engage in flying while intoxicated. Apart from a few recorded occasions, it is rare to find flight crew members arrested or subjected to disciplinary action for being intoxicated while at work. Aviation history records at least one fatal airliner accident involving drunk pilots. Aeroflight, not our own Aero, by the way, this is in Finland. It's important to correct that, because I know my viewers will wonder, oh, Aero? No, it's not our own Aero. This is a Finnish Aero. Now, Aeroflight 311 crashed at Kuopion, Finland in 1961. All 25 on board that flight perished, underscoring the role that poor human choices can play in air accidents. If we go to click 4, we'll continue with piloting while intoxicated. Other incidents recorded in aviation include: 1, in 1990, 3 Northwest Airlines crew members were sentenced to jail for flying while drunk. Very interesting story, Joe, but let's run through and I'll tell you the story very quickly. In 2001, Northwest Airlines fired a pilot for failing a breathalyzer test after a flight. You know, the breathalyzer, the one that checks the volume of alcohol in your blood, and of course from your mouth. In July 2002, both pilots of American West Airlines Flight 556 were arrested just before they were scheduled to fly because they had been drinking alcohol. In addition to firing them by the airline, the 2 pilots had their licenses revoked by Federal Aviation Administration, FAA. Very interesting.
If intoxication can actually lead to disaster, airplane disaster.
Yes.
Then why are we so silent about it?
Well, here we go. Joe, I'm doing my bit, and I am talking to a nation, and I hope somebody somewhere is listening. And if anybody thinks I am sitting here talking nonsense, I challenge the person to come on live TV with me and tell me how much nonsense I'm talking. This is well researched. I take little sleep, and I do a good job by the special grace of God on this matter, and I'm doling out precise, 100% correct information. I expect that those in charge must begin to take a cue from what we are doing here and ensure we put in checks that will ensure that we don't have drunkards behind the joysticks in a
now,
what is more, if you will excuse me for a second.
What could be the role of passengers in this?
Well, you see, more often than not, passengers don't even make contact with pilots. Before they are boarded, pilots are already sitting in the cockpit. And because of terrorism also, cockpits are no-go areas for non-officials, these days. So you have no means of exchanging pleasantries and perceiving alcohol and stuff like that. So it's not the fault of passengers. They have absolutely no way to help in this situation. NCAA must have an arm of their operations whose business will be to check pilots, make sure they are alert, make sure they are not coming to take hold of airplanes drunk. It's a business that must be done.
I think that may be a bit difficult for the NCAA.
Why is it?
Because if the pilot has his bottles already kept in the cockpit, how will the NCAA?
No.
If he does his
you're getting all wrong.
Right.
It's a business of NCAA to walk into that cockpit and carry out a check. The place is so packed full of instruments and equipment for flying that you don't even have hidden places you could tuck away cans of drinks or bottles of alcohol and stuff like that without an inspector who knows where you have such little gaps existing, taking looks and making sure that there's no foul play.
There may be a compromise.
Well, that's where the issue is, and that's where we talk about faithful human operators, helping us to keep planes in the skies. That is where we have a major issue, but it's up to those doing this job to be conscientious and do what is right. Now, Joe, what thrills me about this particular clip we've just, the last one about flight 556 or thereabout. Those men were the previous night seen in the pub drinking until about 4:30 a.m. in company of two of the air hostesses that were supposed to be on flight the next day with them. The air hostesses were said to have left there about 2 a.m. and the two men, the pilot and his co-pilot, continued to drink until about after 4. They were actually, practically speaking, chased away from the pub by the owners of the pub, who at the time now wanted to close because they were the last sitting in there. Now, what's exciting about this whole thing is that when the security authorities, as they were passing through to get into the airplane and get ready for that flight, they of course carried out their check, their breathalyzer, and realized that those men had more alcohol in the system than necessary. They called in the police immediately. And while they were calling in the police, the men arrogantly moved on and went into the airplane. Before arrival of the police, they had started taxiing off. And what happened? Control tower was informed to get that airplane returned that police would want to have a chat with the pilots. Of course, the control tower told them in clear language, you must turn around now, taxi back to to the hangar, or rather the concourse, and get to see the police. And then they did that. On arrival, police used their own breathalyzer also to check and found out that they had more alcohol than necessary. Took them on, straight to court, tried them, Joe, within 4 days. That is a beat that breaks my heart when I think about the judicial system in my country. Within 4 days, those men were found guilty and sentenced to imprisonment and taken straight to jail. Joe, if it happened here, in the next 5 years, that matter will be in court.
And they would be doing their job.
We are just unserious. And my heart is bleeding.
So for any nation to have complete safety when it comes to aviation, there is also the need of the judicial system to play its role.
That's correct. I always say this. Any day we get the judicial system right in Nigeria, everything else will take cue. Everything else will happen. This is a country where a crook dupes you and taunts you to go to court. I'll keep you there in 10 years, for 10 years. He taunts you, go to the police, I know what to do, I'll come there and do what I have to do and walk away. A man that should be in jail. We can't go on like this.
Okay, now let's see what we have in clip 5.
Control flight into terrain is one of the issues we have in safety in aviation. When an aircraft is flown under control into terrain or man-made structures, it is called control flight into terrain, formerly known as CFIT. CFIT is a class of accidents which typically occur as a result of pilot error or of navigational system error. CFIT can also be caused by failure to protect the ILS critical areas. I'm talking about the instrument landing system critical areas. I'm going to explain that quickly to you. The ILS is set in a place in such a way that it doesn't need obstructions, and it's called a critical area that no one should go to. And airplanes, even if they're passing through, will have to pass through very quickly in order not to obstruct, so that it doesn't supply wrong information to other airplanes that are heading for their landing or takeoff. And so that's what we know as ILS critical area. Okay. Now, in December 1992. An American Airlines flight 965 went off course while approaching Cali, Colombia, and hit a mountainside. Very sad, isn't it? Clip 6, please. Let's continue with flight into terrain. We must rush because we have about 12 plates to go, and I hope time will help us achieve that. We have almost 10 minutes to go. The American Airlines flight 965 accident occurred in spite of the fact that a terrain awareness and warning system known as TAWS, T-A-W-S, sounded in the cockpit, and the pilot desperately tried to gain altitude after the warning. To prevent CFIT accidents, crew position awareness and monitoring of navigation systems are essential. That is why pilots need to be sane and be alert
all the time.
All the time, because you may slip into what is known as spatial disorientation. Joe, if a pilot slips into spatial disorientation, his plane may be heading, for the terrain, and he will think he's flying level because it's right. It works.
That means he may be nosediving and think that he's at cruising.
That's correct. And before you know it, he makes contact with either a hill or even the terrain completely, and crash and kill himself and other innocent passengers. That's why they need to be alert. Even if you're an autopilot, keep your eyes on all, because everything is there for you to know that you are. What is the attitude of the aircraft? What is the heading? Everything is there for you, but you've got to be alert to see them. All right. Clip 7, please, very quickly. Clip 7. We are continuing with flight into terrain. Records have it that as of February 2008, over 40,000 aircraft have enhanced tours installed, and they have flown over 800 million hours without a CFIT accident. So you can see that aviation is improving every day, and the machine is awesome. I'm talking about airplanes, and they are built well, but if human operators were to be faithful, we will not be falling out of the skies. That is what these statistics we've just read, is telling us. So CFIT is also prevented by a tool known as Minimum Safe Altitude Warning System, MSAW. This equipment monitors the altitudes transmitted by aircraft transponders and compares that with the system's defined minimum safe altitudes for a given area. If the system senses that the aircraft is lower or might soon be lower than the minimum safe altitude, the air traffic controllers, ATC, receive an acoustic and visual warning and then alerts the pilot that the aircraft is too low. So you see all the safe. Clip 8, please, quickly. Electromagnetic interference is another issue, and we have a lot of that trouble here in Nigeria. People I've once had to scream at somebody sitting next to me, in Abuja here, as we were about to take off to Lagos, to shut down his phone. Otherwise, I will collect it and smash it. I made that threat, and that's when the young lady got serious. When I made the threat that if you turn on that phone one more time, I will smash it here and damn the consequence, and nothing will happen. How can you endanger every one of us here because you want to make a call? Make a call to who? But listen to this electromagnetic issue. Aircraft operation is known to be interfered with by electronic equipment such as mobile phones and other electronic devices. That explains why certain electronic equipment are partially or entirely prohibited during takeoff and landing. We have a big issue with that in this country. A lot of people are still very irresponsible and insensitive.
Yeah, but I think that there's a way of actually tackling that. If you are, of course, about to board, you must pass through the systems. The what do you call it now? The security.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the scan.
The scans. You have to remove your belts, your shoes.
Go ahead. Yes.
That you don't have a choice but to do all of that. Can we also have a system whereby as you remove your shoes and your phone, your shoes and your belt, you also drop your phone, and that will be packaged for you to pick when you land?
Well, it's possible. It's possible, but it means that they need more time to get ready for the flight. Otherwise, if you say you are moving at 8 o'clock and you have to do all those, then you may be moving at 8:30 or 8:45, and those sort of things. And you may be requiring people to be at the airport 3 or 4 hours before their flights and stuff. There's always an issue surrounding them. So let's move forward. Let's move forward.
Okay,
Yeah.
But you didn't get my question.
Yes, when an aircraft is below 10,000 feet above sea level, taking off or landing, use of some types of electronic devices is prohibited, as they are capable of causing compass deviations. That is a very deadly one, with people who make phone calls, just as we come below 10,000, where the signals of mobile phones, are available. You find people turning on their phones, and it happens a lot in this country, and people are quite insensitive and irresponsible about this issue. but passengers must check each other.
But I think
Just like I checked the young lady.
I think the NCAA, FAN, they need to do a whole lot of enlightenment campaign against that. If you don't do it, at times.
Clip 9, please. Clip 9, ground damage. Accidents affecting the body of aircraft usually occur as a result of ground support equipment operating in close proximity to the fuselage and wings of aircraft. Damages often inflicted by ground support equipment include scratches of the paint or small dents in the skin of the aircraft due to the sensitivity or critical role of the body of the aircraft plays in the safe operation of a flight. All damages are inspected, measured, and possibly tested to ensure that any damage is within safe tolerances. Okay? Now, if you go to 10, you see an interesting part of this. Ground damage.
For want of time, can we quickly go to 10? So that
Alaska.
We have barely 4 minutes.
All right. Alaska Airlines Flight 536 in 2005 suffered a depressurization incident due to the carelessness and dishonest conduct of a baggage handler. He stalled towing a train of baggage carts, hit the side of the aircraft, and damaged its metal skin. The damage was not reported, and the plane departed. Can you see that wickedness? As the plane climbed through 26,000 feet, which is about 7,900 meters above the sea level, the damaged section of the skin gave way under difference in pressure between the inside of the aircraft and the outside air. The cabin explosively depressurized, leading to on ground. Examination of the fuselage revealed a 12-inch hole of the right on the right side of the airplane. And 11, very quickly, volcanic ash. 11, volcanic ash, please.
Quickly.
Active volcanoes around the world are dangerous to aircraft. They can damage propellers, engines, and cockpit windows. On 24 June 1982, British Airways Flight 9, a Boeing 747-236B aircraft registered as GBDXH, lost power from all 4 engines when it flew through an ash cloud from Mount Galunggung in West Java, Indonesia. The plane was so damaged that all its leading edges scratched, and the front windscreens were so badly sandblasted by the ash that they could not be used to land the aircraft. All 248 passengers and 15 crew members narrowly escaped death due to the skillful handling of the situation by the pilots. Now 12. 12 is short. 12 is short.
Okay, quickly.
Now that's the airplane that was involved in that loss of 4 engines. For safety reasons, any time ash concentration rises above 0, so it's not tolerated at all. Once concentration rises above 0 in the air, the airspace is considered unsafe and must therefore be enable liaison between meteorologists, volcanologists, and the aviation industry.
Now, on that clip 10, we talked about ground courses, which is of course maybe one of the reasons why we had that runway rehabilitation early this year. And of course, it's one of those things you saw that when you landed, there was this undulation.
That's right.
Did the attention of the pilot.
Of course, I went in straight into the cockpit and spoke to the pilot, and he told me that thing been there for so long that they were helpless. There was nothing. Of course, we had to make noise on air here, and shortly after that,
we saw that rehabilitation, though very, very expensive, over 5 billion naira was used for that. Now, as we go quickly, my concern usually is the plight of the pilot, or the plight of the passengers in all of this. What we have talked about, especially when it comes to, intoxication from pilots.
I've never seen any pilot checked as they are stepping out to go and take hold of airplanes. I've never seen one. I would apologize to NCAA if they do it, but I usually see them gracefully, walking through with their crew to go and take hold of aircraft. I've never seen anybody stopped
well, maybe
to use breathalyzers to check whether they were in
maybe they do that in their offices or do that somewhere. But we hope that is done to ensure aviation safety. I must thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
This morning.
Next week.
What we can take next week, we shall be discussing part 6, aviation safety. There, it has been with